Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's episode of I Cast Fireball, an actual play 5e D&D adventure where we go through the campaign Tyranny of Dragons. I'm Thomas, your DM for this adventure, and around the table we have...
Malamara.
Landstalen.
And Fleeple.
Last we left the Jhank Squad, they were going on a 2-month journey to the caldera, the Well of Dragons, and the final battle with the Cult of the Dragon. This is where Severin is. This is where the temple's being raised from the 9 hells. Danger is imminent, but there is a few days, maybe a week or so time before the ritual to bring Tiamat onto this material plane is set forth. The Jhank Squad ahead of the army that Leosin and the other factions of Faerun are bringing. They do have a little bit of time to sow mistrust, to figure out exactly what's going on. Well, let's see what they find out on this week's episode of I Cast Fireball. Well, the Jhank Squad. As you recall, you were some distance away from the caldera, but being this some distance away, you noticed that the valley or the land is just scorched earth. It has been deprived of resources. The trees have been cut down, which Fleeple, you already knew. No shrubbery has gained purchase here. Just barren rock wasteland. Not only being so close to the Anarok Desert, but with the Cult of the Dragon trying to gather resources to build up the army that they have, the thousands of individuals they have on the caldera itself. As you progress towards the caldera, you will recall that the dragons in flight around the caldera are of their brilliant hue. You'll see all 5 colors of the chromatic dragons represented here: white, blue, red, green, black, all in varying shapes and sizes. You'll see large creatures in the distance upon the slopes of the caldera. And every step that you and your horses take towards the caldera further cements the plan that you have set forth. What was that plan that you set forth?
We're going to try and get in there, start off on a low level, sneak in there, start to get to learn who the peoples are, start to figure out where the weak spots are, and then maybe from there, based on what we learn, see if we can start sneaking into some of the higher echelons of the cult.
Starting as a low-level ranked cult member to see what they can glean, and then maybe start working your way up as you have the paraphernalia given to you by Leosin, and maybe sowing some distrust in between the Red Wizards of Thay, or presenting them an alternate opportunity, if I recall from our previous conversations. But a fact-finding mission indeed it is for the 3 of you. You have your 4 horses, the 3 of them that you're riding in. Anything that you'd like to prepare before you go into the lion's den?
Ooh, boy. Well, we probably better get our disguises ready to go, first and foremost.
And how are those disguises? I know we've got the Hat of Disguise, right? So we might be using the Hat of Disguise, but is there any non-magic or magic means that we're using for disguises here? Like a disguise kit, or like fake noses, or things like that?
Did we talk about Fleeple wearing the Hat of Disguise because of his winged kobold odd form? You know, odd to other... Because he's very different colored and stuff, right? Like from other kobolds.
Yeah, I've got the platinum tinge as well, so...
Yes, and kobolds were treated very poorly in the caldera, and like lower than dirt.
Like a halfling Fleeple?
Yeah, that's...
A halfling Fleeple.
I'm a real boy!
That's one thing I'm wondering, like, as I was scrying in there, watching Severin walking around from room to room, did I notice any gnomes, any halflings, any owlins, I don't know, any short folks like myself?
Yeah, let's have you roll a history check, a recall check, whatever that may be here. History probably, as you're thinking back to those first times that you were scrying on Severin.
Well, that's a 9.
9. You can't recall the exact image or face of some of the people that you met, but there were definitely halflings. There were There were gnomes. There were obviously kobolds. Goblins, not so much that you can recall or from what you saw yourself. But there were some smaller folk there that were still in robes, still interacting with the cultists, not in like a lowly manner, so to speak, like a kobold was.
Okay. Yeah, I think I'll try halfling then. Why not? That sounds exciting.
Great. Wonderful. So you've got the Hat of Disguise, and you are a halfling. And the Hat of Disguise is just an illusion, right? It doesn't actually change your form. So
Correct.
You still have your wings that you'll be aware of as you walk through in crowds. I mean, up to you, obviously, but that's definitely something that Fleeple will be on the lookout for, to make sure that he has enough space where people don't just bump into him and feel something that isn't there. So Fleeple, sounds like your disguise is taken care of through illusory magic with the Hat of Disguise. Mal and Lance, were you going to disguise yourselves other than the robes that you were going to be donning?
No, I think, I don't have any other means about me, so I think it's just literally the robes. Lance is going to kind of button up his collar again, so his neck isn't showing too much, just because doesn't want to draw any more attention than is necessary in this moment. Lance has his scarf wrapped around his head to cover the helm of brilliance, so that's kind of in disguise, that's not seen.
Right. And Lance, maybe something to consider as well, as you went on this year-long mission to recruit the Zentarum, you were, to some degree, trying to make yourself known to the Zentarum, right? And so your face could be recognized by the Zentarum if they were here, right?
By those who...
Ideally, the Zentarum are on your side.
Yeah, those who weren't on my side in the Zentarum, but most of them went to my side. I could be recognized. Obviously, Vandal definitely, probably. I could 100% with this scarf do a Thor disguise. Now, when you see my face, you can... Like, I could wrap part of it around my face, and so it's only kind of like an eye covering that's visible, but that might be obvious too. Like, oh, look, someone, is just showing their eyes. Maybe. So, I mean, I could do that. Sure, why not?
I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah,
it's up to you. Just since we did the year jump, I just want to make sure that since we didn't play sessions and sessions, just bring some things that are on my mind to the forefront here. And Mal, other than the cultist robes, anything that you were donning?
I think just the robes. Last time we got in trouble for having the daggers and the pendants. So, do you guys think that we should take in with us all of our specific, I'm worried that they're gonna search us and find all of our stuff. Do you think we should leave the fourth horse out of the caldera with our stuff?
What stuff?
I don't know. Some of our weaponry or the helm of brilliance or something that I'm just afraid they're going to take it away from us. But maybe not.
Leaving the helm of brilliance behind.
I don't mean forever. I just mean so we can be recruited. We just got in trouble last time because we had the...
Last time we were walking in to pretend like we were new recruits, showing up to the caldera because that's where we were called. This time, we're starting out in lower level robes, but we are not acting as if we're we just joined up. No, we've been a part of it. We're just maybe out on a scouting mission or something.
Oh, is that the plan?
I mean, that's what it can be. That's what I'm saying. We shouldn't, like you said, we learned from the last time where we probably don't want to do that because then, they're going to search us. They're going to think, oh, these are new recruits, so we got to edge them in, especially because this is the final plan. They've already recruited everybody. They're not looking for more recruits because this is the end game. So my way going forward that I would propose is that we are not acting like new recruits anymore. We're acting like we've been in this caldera a while. And we were just out on a scouting mission or looking for food or something. If we want, we could even hunt an animal right now.
And there's just so many people working here that, of course you've never seen us before because we have 10,000 employees at this company.
Facing the crowd.
Yeah.
Corporate life, man.
It's like in the Avatar: The Last Airbender at the very end, where all on the airship, they're like, "Oh, how long you worked here? Oh yeah, I work in engineering. It's probably why we've never seen each other." That awkward conversation that they have. Yeah.
Okay. I think we're out on a scouting mission. We're on our way back. We've been here for a while and just keep all of like the tattoos and stuff hidden until we need it later.
Yes, so we just need to be confident above all else is kind of the main thing, I think.
Mal will, before we get to the desolate area of the caldera, well, within a day's ride, she will hunt a buck. So we'll have at least something to bring in and make it look like we are out from a hunting trip.
Yeah, go ahead and roll a survival check then, Mal. It is pretty scarce game out here because of all the resources that are being depleted, but I will allow you to add a +3 to your result as a result of you being just so amazing in scarce, harsh conditions.
Well, I'm so amazing that I rolled a natural 20.
Yeah.
With a +4 to survival and a +3 from the DM's pity. So it's
Not
27.
pity. Circumstantial. Mal.
Sorry,
You take
sorry.
that.
Circumstantial.
I take away an inspiration.
I don't have any for you to take.
Oh, well.
So that's a 27 to find a buck to bring in. Maybe 2.
Okay, yeah, it absolutely is
Couple
too.
rabbits
and they are. Yes, you got a couple rabbits that you've been holding on to. You've got a couple bucks. Fleeple, you're even helping out with holding some of this stuff. Lance, you too. Yeah, it's a good haul. It's a good haul. It could feed you guys for quite a while and could be very welcome in the Cult of the Dragon, depending on how their food sources are going here while they are waiting for Tiamat to be risen to this plane. So, well done. I guess with that, Jacob, anything you wanted to add to your disguise? I know we kind of cut away to Mal there for a sec. I want to give you that opportunity before I start describing you walking through or into the camp here.
No, I'm throwing it up. You convinced me. I'm taking the cloth and my scarf, putting it over my face somewhat, also around the helm, kind of covering up a little bit more.
If anybody's played a Final Fantasy or any sort of like TTRPG game, I feel like this is the last save point. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know how before you get to the end of the game, you're like, all right, it asks, are you sure you want to continue or do you want to go do other things? I feel like this is the last save point here.
You won't be able to save beyond this point.
So at this point, we can use all of our coin, use all of our potions, and...
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is if we die during the cult, we're invading the caldera,
we can
then we can just...
resave.
Yeah, we'll save scum and it'll be fine.
Respawn back to the last save point.
All right. Well, you come closer and closer to the caldera as your disguises are getting established, as you are discussing with each other your plans, your stories. I'm going to have everybody roll me a d6, please.
That's a 1.
It's a 5.
6.
Great. All right. As you approach the caldera, the sides of the caldera are very steep, as, again, this is an extinct volcano. The sides they slope upwards, and it seems like the camp of the Cult of the Dragon is just built on the actual slopes of the caldera itself. There is no city here. There is no civilization other than what the Cult of the Dragon has brought. So there are tents, there are pockets of sections of the Cult of the Dragon, some flying the blue flag, some flying the black flag, some with intertwined flags with red and white in certain camps. And it seems that these flags are denoting maybe allegiance, but maybe the initial sect of the Cult of the Dragon that people were brought into. So it seems like people have partitioned themselves off, but there is a lot of hustle and bustle between these sections as well. So a lot of mingling, as they are all one of the Cult of the Dragon. Some very noticeable features you see as you get very close to the caldera, as you approach the camp. There are very few if any, guards on the outskirts of the caldera. It seems that they don't feel they need to have any guards or lookouts, and you are able to just kind of walk, for the most part, into the hustle and bustle. And you think, you might be asking yourself, what now, why is that? And it's just at that moment, a gigantic red dragon flies over your heads that is very large, very ancient even, and is patrolling the skies looking for any possible intruders or large force. And that may explain why they don't have many scouts or lookouts on the ground here. Some of the other notable things that you take in is there are all races here. Just everybody around Faerun and outside of this material plane seem to be here. In fact, there are elves, half-elves, there are magic users, there are gnomes, halflings, there are races from the Underdark, the Grrga. There are giants scattered amongst the cliff sides or the slopes of this caldera. Not a numerous amount of giants, but there are more than a dozen giants. And in fact, you think you might recognize a frost fire and a hill giant that are meandering some distance away from you, which you might recall from your previous journey that you almost stumbled upon. Then there are some horrifying sights. You see very finely dressed devils roaming amongst some of the cultists. It seems that the Cult of the Dragon have been finding assistance wherever they can to create that rift between this material plane and the one of the Nine Hells. So whether that's through deals, hacks, whatever it may be. But surprisingly, no demons that you can see. It is a bunch of chaos, though. There are a lot of people milling about, discussing with each other, fights happening, breaking out here and there. There are people entering tents. There are people being thrown out of tents. A vast number of dragon regalia being worn, from the lowliest occultist who doesn't have anything but a black robe or even just like a black sash on their arm being ordered about, to full-blown 5-tiered cultist members. You are in the thick of it. But nobody stops you at this moment. So, now that you're in it, what questions do you have, or what information would you like to gather just from the initial surveying or entering the camp?
The first thing I would like to try and ascertain is the names of maybe some higher-ups, so that if anybody asks us, like, oh, who authorized you to go do this, we can have a name to drop in that moment.
Great. That would probably take some investigation, so we could do some investigation rolls there, or go on a fact-finding mission there. That's definitely something that we will be doing here. Not going to be something that is easily gleaned as you first enter the camp, though. But if there's nothing else, we can, by all means, start going in that direction. Mal or Lance, was there anything you wanted to just try and glean from first impressions here?
First impression, as we see those dragons flying above us, can I make out a certain white dragon that we might know?
Yeah, go ahead and roll a perception check.
Where are you? Perception. It's going to be a 24.
Whoa, 24. Okay. Okay. As you are looking up into the skies, sort of gleaning, looking around, you are keenly aware of these dragons, and every white dragon. There are some young wormling type youths flying about. Some are actually dive bombing into the cults of the dragon and grabbing people and taking them off for their meal. So while others are more dignified, one of the more dignified creatures that you see on the slopes of the caldera near the top, that's sort of just looking around, is a familiar white dragon, Arthator, at the top of one of the slopes of the Cult of the Dragon. Just sort of looks around, looks down on everybody before he takes up into the air and flies off south for some reason and out of sight for the time being. But yes, our Tour does appear to be here.
Just checking.
And for Mal, as we're walking through, every camp has a hierarchy, and even though people are milling about, just keeping an eye out for if it seems like where certain people are gathering, not just walking in between, but where are the black armbands, where are just the robes, and where do the higher ups seem to be accumulating, because those are important areas. Part of her background as an outlander allows her to remember terrain, and by extension, I would assume keeps it as like a mental map. And so for her, she's going to be trying to track where people are and keep a mental map of where certain people seem to congregate.
That's good. In combination with your Outlander background, let's go and have you roll a... You know what? I'm going to call it survival, actually, a survival skill.
I rolled a 22 for survival.
22. So, Mal, there's a few things to note. As you look around, and the higher-ups proudly display their regalia, whether it's the pendant with the 3 dots emblazoned and proudly showing, or 3 stripes on their robes directly to help further signify their rank, or 3 distinct tattoos on their face, or whatever the number may be, right? It goes all the way up to 5. There's no question at who has higher rank or higher authority here. The 4s and the 5s, as I'll call them, you don't see a lot of them out and about. It seems that a lot of the people running the outside of this caldera, a lot of the camps are more of the 3s and some of the 2s. The 4s and the 5s, however, with your 22, you see they really only reside in tents, like some of these large tents, if they maybe are heading up a section of the Cult of the Dragon. If you recall, some of the higher-ups in the caldera were recruiters themselves, or the actual heads of specific portions or sects. And so they either reside in the tents themselves that are very opulent, very large, very much like Mondath's, or, and this is something that you notice first, Mal, they are traveling inside the caldera itself. There are, and at this point you have been sort of doing a perimeter of the caldera, just casually getting the lay of the land here. There are many entrances into the caldera itself, almost like these underground lava tubes. They just go directly into the earth, whether they were burrowed by dragons or whether they were natural formations when this volcano was active. You're not sure, but there are quite a bit. In fact, doing a long surveying or just asking, if you do ask around, regardless, you could find that there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish, maybe more entrances down below and into the caldera itself. Fleeple, this would line up with your vision that you saw of Severin traveling through these lava tubes to the center inside the caldera itself where the temple is being raised. So a lot of the higher-ups, they don't tend to live outside the caldera. They seem to be going inside the caldera, maybe for more important business, or their quarters might be there. You're not sure. That's something to further investigate with what Fleeple wanted to do. Now, as a result of that one, Fleeple, as you are milling about, you in your halfling illusion, Mal proudly displaying her cult robes as a half-orc, and Lance with this wrap around you. Lance, it's at this time that you feel a sharp tug, because I imagine, well, I guess, are you all on your horses while you go this, or are you walking your horses through the camp? It might be a good thing to ask.
I think walking the horses
Are there other horses and riders in the camp as we observed from the cliff face, or the dip?
I mean, there are a lot of horses, but nobody seems to be on mounts other than those that are of high rank throughout the camp. So if you are portraying a lower rank, you probably would be walking your horses. But having horses, not uncommon. But walking your horses, probably.
I mean, especially since we got 2 dead deer draped over the back of these horses. So.
Exactly, which we'll get to where we're going to drop that off and how that benefits you now. But Lance, it's at this time, you feel a sharp tug on your arm, but like near your shoulder, kind of like your bicep, and it's very sharp, and you turn around. And as you turn around, you see this... you hear before you really see and take in their face, but a voice going, hey, I think, don't I know you? Don't I know you? And as the whole party turns, you recognize it's Kawab.
I knew it. As soon as you started that voice, I'm like, that idiot.
I had somebody who wore this exact color scarf. And Kawab is very intoxicated right now, but is starting to draw attention to this scarf and to Lance Thalen with not a quiet voice. This is drawing attention towards yourselves.
Yeah, seeing that attention is coming towards us, I reach out and I just kind of shove him in the knee and I say, oh, you want we should take a spoil of war from you as well?
Oh, what is happening?
What?
He's a German.
You have, sorry. And he leans down, and as he leans down, he is maintaining his balance, but he's really focusing on it. So he slowly leans down. What'd you say? What'd you say to me, little man?
You see, my friend here, he took this scarf from one of the folks that we killed on our way up the ranks. Would you like us to take? Oh, that's a pretty nice cloak you've got there. I could wear that.
It's a very nice cloak. It's a little tall for you, I think.
Oh, is that so? Okay, you want to do this right here, right now?
Oh, I was just trying to say that I thought I knew this guy, and I thought maybe he owed me money. Maybe he was a long-lost pal, and here you are making a big deal out of it. As he starts to stand up, he's having a hard time staying on his feet right now.
Oh, well, I'm afraid you obviously do not know my friend here, but remember this name. And I poke him in the kneecap and I say, Jurgen Lerman, remember this name.
Jurgen Lerman. I'm going to have Kawab roll a d20. Okay. Jurgen Lergen. Jurgen. That's difficult to say. I mean, that's a hard name. And he kind of stumbles back up to you, Lance, and goes, Jurgen, don't. I could have sworn I knew you by a different name. And he's looking in your eyes because that's all he sees, right? Because everything else is covered, right? He didn't.
I don't know if I was clear. That's my name.
Oh, you're Jurgen Lerg. That makes sense.
Yes.
Jurgen Lergen. I don't know Jurgen. I don't know any
tongue here.
Yeah.
Now,
he's
will...
going through that he's trying to go through this thought process that is very frustrating as an intoxicated man right now. So, Mal
will take him by the arm and just kind of lead him drunkenly over to whoever's whoever's still kind of looking at us, and kind of drop him off with them and make sure he sobers up.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Go ahead and roll a... Mal, I'll have you roll an intimidation check if you'd like.
Can I assist?
And I'll have you assist Lance Thalen, yes.
Okay. I will assist by... Just as she's about to grab him, I very quickly take my hand and grab him around the neck and pull him close. I'll just be like, if you want to keep whatever swills in your stomach from spilling out on the ground, I suggest you back up.
Not helping. And she delivers him onto the guys.
Okay, roll intimidation with advantage, Mal.
That's a 25.
25. All right. So, yeah. As these three individuals, there are two women and one man who, as you drop Kawab off to, you shove him into their arms and they grab him and they look up. And it's at that moment they see your massively built form, Malamara, as you just... And just like a soft growl comes out of your mouth as Lance, at that moment, you take out a knife, flip it, and hide it almost immediately as it's just like this passing glance. And all four of them just kind of swallow real hard, and they go, "Come on, Kawab, let's go get you another round, okay? Let's get you. We don't want any trouble here." And they usher him away from you, sufficiently terrified. I am going to roll something else here.
We are decisively bad at keeping a low profile.
Well, someone roll the one.
Not naming names, but somebody.
I mean, that person hopped in to pick up the slack, just saying.
That's true.
I just don't understand how your one affected me.
So, it's at this time there is a stocky dwarf woman bustles up to you, and she's got this like big apron on with a bunch of blood all over it. And she's like wiping her hands as she walks up to you. Goes, "Hey, you do us a good service getting that riffraff out of this section here." Looks you up, Mal, specifically. What do you go by?
And she's watching the people disappear and completely missed that she approached. And she looks at her. "What?"
Yeah, what do you call yourself? What's your name?
She freezes. Grrga. And she shows her tusks. And she's in her brain is like, I really should have thought this through more than I did.
Grrga? Grrga.
Yes, Grrga.
It's very primal, very visceral, I'll say.
Yes, I got it from my tribe. And she just is trying so hard to be like, I'm going to be an orc. And I just don't know how to be. I'm an orc.
Well, Grrga, I see you got some good kills behind you there. As she points to the horses with the deer and a bunch of like small critters hanging off that you've trapped. We'd be mighty appreciative if you wouldn't mind sharing some of your spoils for our section on over here. Do you find that agreeable, Grrga?
What section is that?
Hey, the Wraithia section. We call ourselves the Dark. And this is, you've walked into, or this encounter happened in a section where those follow one of the black dragons in particular. Wraithia, the Dark. Aye, obviously, you killed it, you ate it, but, be mighty obliged if you wouldn't mind sharing some of your spoils. The meat's getting a little bit gamey over in our area here, and I'm in charge, as you can see, as she points down to her bloody apron. I'm in charge of making sure that we're all a little bit better fed than the others.
Mal makes a big show of looking her up and down, and then snorts her best orc snort, and says, I could part with a buck, maybe a few rabbits, for our new friends. What's your name?
Buck and rabbits. Well, for now you can call me the Butcher.
Mal will untie one of the bucks and two of the rabbits and hand it over to the butcher.
Very nice. As soon as you start to untie it, she whistles. And a a human and a halfling come scuttling out from the tent that she was in, and they rush over. And she goes, "See that this buck and this rabbit are put in the evening stew for tonight. We've got Grrga to thank for it." And so they rush over and grab those items from you and go. And she goes, "By the way, what affiliation of what color of dragon are you guys proclaiming? Like, is there a color that you have, or are you just wearing the robes right now?"
Are the robes specific colors for the different dragons? Or are they all the same robe and then adornment on top of it?
It's all the same robe, and like your pendant or your dagger might have some like ornamentation, or your tattoo, if you get a tattoo, things like that. I imagine you would just go in neutral for the time being, right?
We're just fans of dragons in general.
There we go. Dragons, maybe even a few dungeons. She goes, "Where's your affiliation then, Grrga?"
Lance will just chime in, like as we're standing with Grrga, and he'll just say, "Tiamat. That's who we're affiliated with."
Yes, we're all with Tiamat. We're all with Cult of the Dragon. We're all behind Severin. Where do you reside?
Tiamat.
All right, fine. Looks at you, Grrga. Looks like you've hooked up with a fanatical over here, eh? What about you, young halfling? Ned, I always call every single one of your characters young, no matter what, or little.
He's just
I don't know
little.
why.
He's just little.
I'll have a young character for you one of these days. Don't worry.
Oh, you young little halfling. I'm little.
Oh, you wee babe now.
Yeah.
Hey, halfling, where are you residing? Where's your affiliation? What are your colors?
Well, I reside with the winning team. So, in your opinion, what would you say is the winning team?
As she looks all of you up and down, she's going to roll. She looks at all of you and goes, "You must have just recently come in then. Haven't really put your feet up, I might say, as I look at on you. Well, if you got no particular affiliation, you can stay in our spot over here. As long as you don't mind being called the Dark Ones, the Darks, Wraithia, what have you. You certainly have a spot around our table, bringing in such a mighty kill as that, Grrga."
Why do you follow the Black Dragon? Why do you affiliate with the Dark Ones?
Well. And she kind of like starts walking towards her tent and sort of like gestures for you to like walk and talk. She goes, see, I grew up in pretty traditional dwarven home in one of the mountains up north. Not quite north of the Honoraki Desert, mind you, but north enough to be a little bit isolated. And, well, one day, we had a break-in. Wouldn't you know it, a black dragon just tore right through our defenses and slaughtered half of our civilization. It's quite terrifying for some, but I've always been weird folk, so my folks say, and I found it quite exhilarating. The power, the raw power I saw coming from that creature. And from then on, I just decided that I was going to follow power when I saw it. I thought I might as well try to seek those out. Who had the brains to follow the creatures in Faerun that were truly going to rise up and overthrow everyone. You get what I'm at. As she comes down with her butcher, her cleaver, and cuts the head off one of the rabbits that had been, as she starts to dress it and get it ready for the soup. What about you, Grrga? What are you saying?
As has been telling us this story, Fleeple and Lance, who've been with Mal for so long and know Mal's history with lusting after power, can see in her face she has totally retreated into her own self, and she just has this look of faraway shame as she listens to her lusting after power and remembering what Mal has done in the pursuit of that power, and is just deafened to the world. She's in her own space. She doesn't even hear the question.
And with Mal's silence, the butcher, she just kind of rolls her eyes and goes, "You yellow one, what brought you out here? as she just continues to like slice open the rabbit and get it ready for the dinner tonight.
What brought me out here? Tiamat brought me out here.
Well, you just aren't a conversationalist at all. I think you're a fun.
I'm not here to have
How do you hook up with somebody like this? As she looks at you, Fleeple. How do you hook up with someone like this?
Never mind. I'll shut up. Okay. Just trying to talk here, apparently. No one likes to talk.
You'll have to pardon my friends, Frau Butcher. They are not so good with words at times.
Well, what brought you out here?
Well, there's going to be power to be found in this new world order, from what I understand. And I go to where the power is.
Hey, that's why we're all out here, ain't it? Yes, Tiamat, as she looks at you, Lance. Of course we're all out here. She's gonna bring this new world order.
And so,
Well?
you, presumably, are the one who's going to help us get in the good graces of the higher-ups, in exchange for this wonderful gift we have brought for you.
Well, I suppose I could introduce you to some of the higher-ups in our section over here. With this magnificent gift, as he asked nothing in return before I took it. She's sort of like cocking her head back and forth. I suppose I do owe you a little bit, as I certainly didn't offer you a place to stay, and a place you could put your feet up around here. Sure, I could probably introduce you to a few folks around here, if you'd like. She is, at this point, finishing cleaning out the rabbit and passing it off to one of her lackeys, her workers.
Now, Frau Butcher, perhaps I was not quite so clear before. You need not be short with us, because we are going to the top. Do not worry. And if you wish to come with us, we are more than willing to have your help.
Fleeple, I'll allow you to roll a persuasion check if you'd like.
Ooh boy, ooh boy, ooh boy, ooh boy.
To see, so she can see the severity and the sincerity? Severity and sincerity of what you're saying.
That's a 14.
14. She goes, oh, lad. Everyone wishes to go to the top. But, and she, at this point, she is like kind of waving a knife, not threatening, but just sort of like pointing at you. But if you realize the pain it is of leadership, why not find yourself a nice middle ground where you have just enough leadership and power that you get a taste of it, but none of the responsibility in case things go haywire, eh? Sure, you'll go to the top, and I'd like to see that for sure.
Now, there are those who wish to get to the top, and there are those who get to the top. Do not worry.
Well, that'll be the day, I suppose. I'll have to keep my eye on you. As she, at this point, she's put down her knife, she's wiped her hands, and she gets herself a cup of something frothy, and she starts drinking it back there. She wipes her mouth and goes, well, you could come back here in, I'd say a couple hours, and we'll have a nice long line, but don't worry, I'll skip you to the front since you brought such a nice gift to us here, Grrga. But feel free to pick a spot, look around. But please, you can call this place home if you'd like.
Any other camps in here that are friendly with the dark ones?
I've got quite a few. I could go over to dinner with you if you'd like, but I mean, you walk into most any part of the camp here and people will look on you with at least a modicum of respect. But we all are here for, and she looks right at you, Lance Taylor, and Tiamat after all.
Well, out of gratitude for your helpfulness, just something to remember each of us by. And I will pull one by one out of my pack 3 platinum pieces and hand them over to her.
As you do, she sort of had this like lackadaisical approach, but as you do pull that out, before you even get the third one out, she moves with a nimbleness you haven't seen, like very quickly. And Lance, it actually takes you by, like it shocks you and you involuntarily like go for your dagger, but she moves to Fleeple so quickly, and instead of attacking or anything, she just deftly palms your hand and goes, And it's good to meet you too, fella. And she'll just quickly palm those palatinum and put them in her pouch before her workers can see what was offered to her. I will roll a sleight of hand for her, just to see.
As she kind of did that, and as you could tell that maybe like changed her a little bit of her perception of us, Lance will just say, "As I said, we're here for Tiamat. Tiamat's power. And as you would aptly know, Butcher, some get scraps, and some get the fine meat. We're looking for the fine."
Hey, Tiamat's power. And she looks at you, Lance, especially after this platinum's been offered. She goes, hey, Tiamat's power, of course, yes. And she's not, like, brushing you off as just a fanatical anymore. She's, like, eyeing you up and down, Lance. Be like, well, of course. Glad we could be better acquainted after all of this. And her whole, like, demeanor has changed slightly to be a little bit friendlier to you. To you all, I should say.
As we exit the tent or the area wherever she was doing the prepping, Mal to both of them quietly, as quiet as you can, and a bunch of people just, I think maybe we should go take this buck and these other rabbits to some other. But this really worked out for us, giving some food to these people. So maybe we should go offer some of this to somebody else. And the more friends we have in the camp, the more information we can get. Which color do you think we should go to next?
Yeah, that's a good idea. Before we do that, though, Malamala, you kind of faded for a second there.
I just know the path that she's on, and I realize that where she's going to end up is much worse than where I did. But that's the mission that we're on. So, which color? We got a couple here around. Which ones should we go to?
This might be a bad idea, but
Let's hear it.
here's the thing. I'm not the best at talking, even though I might make words sound good. I'm not the best at making them feel good to others, maybe. I'm wondering if I could serve a better purpose here. Possibly you and Fleeple go and do as you proposed. I might be able to find out other information by other means. I know that means we might be splitting up, and that could get some trouble. We do have stones, though, of sending. We can use just as an emergency call.
What do you think about that, Fleeple?
Jurgen, or is that
If it
it?
works for
Jurgen?
Jurgen.
Jurgen Lerman.
Okay, let's get names down here, because I should stop calling you that. Grrga.
Grrga.
We got Grrga.
Grrga.
We've got Jurgen.
Sorry, I froze, guys. We had 2 months to come out here, and I just lost it.
Grrga. We've got Jurgen.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And
Grrga. Jurgen.
Jurgen.
And Mervin.
Nope, not doing that. Nope. I will go by... Not Vandal this time.
Yeah, Vandal.
Yeah. I will go by... Phaleon. That's what I'll go by.
Fallen. Almost like you're falling, but fallen. Like a PH.
Yeah, I'll go by that. That was the name of my father.
Fleeple writes that down real quick.
Right. I will be seeing you. And Lance will cast invisibility.
Mal, before he goes invisible, reaches into her pouch and pulls out her sending stone and gives it to Lance.
Yes.
Lance, go ahead and roll a sleight of hand
Okay.
for casting the spell.
In the middle of a bunch of people.
Well, I mean, I'd assume there's magic people. I assume people aren't just being like,
There
oh,
is.
there's never magic here.
There's definitely magic, and sometimes it's easier to do things in a crowd of people than it is.
21.
21. Well done. Okay. You go invisible with the sending stone, also invisible, and you start to go off. Jurgen and Grrga, you start to go off into other areas of different camps, it seems, to maybe try to make some friends with some other butchers or some other cooks or other individuals. Now, how that is going to play out, I guess what color are you going to be going to first? Or is it just, are you going to roll a die and basically go there? Mal and Fleeple.
Yep. Eeny, meeny, miny, roll a d6.
Well, we already
D4.
visited black, so yeah, we'll do name of color by alphabetical order, I guess. So we've got blue, green, red, white. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4. So we're going to the...
Let's go red.
I don't want to go to the white
Let's
track.
not go to white.
No.
Sometimes you need something to make a decision for you so you can realize it's
I
not the
rolled a
decision
3.
you wanted. Okay, there
And
you go.
I thought about that and I was like, we definitely can't go, as you said, the 4 colors. I was like, let's not go to white. And then you rolled a white.
Yes,
Red.
Let's go to
Let's
the
go
dragons.
red.
Okay, sounds good. And Lance, what are you going into a particular camp?
No, I'm just running. No, I'm joking. I'm out of here. No,
I'm out!
Yeah. I'm
outta
going
here.
I'm going to go to the entrances deeper into the caldera, where you said more of the higher-ups probably would be. I'm not going in as of yet. I'm going to, because I'd imagine they're like, correct me if I'm wrong, they're like lava tubes almost?
Yes, they are lava tubes.
So I'm going to kind of find those areas and definitely like linger to observe. Are there guards at these tubes? Are there certain phrases that are given, or maybe magical incantations that are given or received, or whatever have you? I'm inspecting how to get further into the caldera.
Great. Okay, and how long does your visibility last? Is it an hour?
I think it's an hour.
Until you attack or cast another spell.
Either through the sending... Can the sending stone only call once, or can it just always call?
I believe we said it would always call these sending stones that we determined for our benefit.
I'll just send a text that says, "Let me know where you at." So that after I'm done, I know where to go, so I'm not just wandering around.
And Malco's new phone, who dis?
New stone, who dis?
Yeah.
Hey.
New stone, who dis? Well done. Okay. Well, I think that's a good place to pick up next time on I Cast Fireball. So, you've made an ally.
Yeah, we made a friend. Look at
A
that.
butcher.
The butcher.
Where's the baker?
Yes.
Where's the candlestick maker?
Do you know the Muffin Man?
Maybe they're here. What are they making candles out of? We don't know.
Ooh.
What?
Probably earwax.
Gross.
Just like Shrek.
Just like Shrek.
Just like
It's the
Shrek.
giants.
Exactly like Shrek.
Oh, the
there
ogre
we
camp.
go.
It's the
There
ogre
we
camp
go.
right over here.
Donkey's just the guard. Well,
He does like dragons.
some fun, tense moments here. We've got Kawab, who popped up, who I always had in the background being like, all right, let's see if he pops up
Maybe
again.
it was good for Ned to lead the way on that, because I was like, oh, I'm immediately stabbing this fool. I'm gonna do Assassin's Creed, kill, and just, oh, you're drunk. Here, let me put you on this chair.
Leave him on the ground.
Oh,
We all run away.
Oh, man.
I mean, you probably could kill him in just one hit now.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I turn on my poison dagger and just
You don't know how
bam.
much he's leveled up or leveled down.
He's drunk.
Leveled
He's
down.
drunk as
you
a
say?
skunk right now.
He's drunk. He has disadvantage on everything. He's leveled down.
Go home, Kawab, you're drunk. Fun seeing that blast from the past, seeing Jacob's face when I was just right before I said who it was a treat for me. But we will see what happens next time on I Cast Fireball. Thank you to my players, Jacob, Ned, and Mickey, as always, for jumping and contributing to this super fun, super incredibly intricate world. But listeners, thank you for joining in, as always, for following us on this crazy adventure. If you like what we're doing, if you like what you're hearing, leave a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice, and shoot us an email at icastfireball2020@gmail.com if you want to leave something a little bit longer than a review. We also are on social medias at icastfireball20. We've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, we've got YouTube, we've got Facebook, we've got, I think that's it, other than our Patreon, where we have some amazing tiers over there. My favorite being the Patreon exclusive Discord access, where we just talk about everything. It's so much fun over there, seeing it riffing off of road trip snacks, fun like subclasses that people enjoy for the wizards. I think we're going to be talking about we're going to be going through some of the classes, subclasses moving forward. It's going to be a lot of fun. Just join us over there at patreon.com, icastfireball20. Want to shout out our sister podcast, as always, Improv Tabletop. They're doing amazing things. They're doing fabulous stuff. Their second season is over, I believe. Ned, is that right?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride, but we finally finished that up, and we got all kinds of new stuff going on. It's fun and exciting.
Ooh. So if long-form campaigns are not your jam, which I don't know why they wouldn't be, because you wouldn't be listening to this, you should go binge their other campaigns that they've got going on in the Avatarverse, or just look at their fake campaigns that they will be starting up soon, I believe. So don't forget to leave them a 5-star review on the way out. Lastly, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with your friends and fellow wacky adventurers. But until next time, I'm Thomas, your DM, and around the table we have
Malamara.
Lance Thalen.
And Fleeple.
Let's keep that fire going, everybody, and we'll see you all next time.